Hello, and welcome back. I am Maester Aelix, and this is ShadowRun Returns Dragonfall. Goodness gracious. And we're right back where we left off here in the cruise bazaar, and we had just helped that gentleman, the maintenance worker, deal with a sewer problem, which is a bad problem to have. Tip the dancer, yes, we will put 5 yen into the bag. Because she seems to be working hard. Oh, there's Kami. Or Kami, or however pronounced. She looks up from her comm, idly blowing a gum bubble and quickly popping it. Hello again. I hear you've been busy. Well, gossip travels fast, doesn't it? It's not gossip, it's work. Survival, really. What makes you need to survive working like this? Well, you know, Altung always says, if you do not spy, how will you know who's boss? She waves her hand as if, though excuse our poor memory. Or something like that. I'm just a kid. What do I know? If you don't know, then maybe you're playing hooky. Intel's important, but you should have a lesson. But that's a lesson for when you're older, don't you think? Kami puffs up indignantly, and you realize how young she must really be. She couldn't be out of her teens yet. And what does that mean? She'll admit it can be a hard life for a kid. If you're really gathering intel, you need some street smarts. You're still wet behind the ears. Well, it's just that there are probably some stories that are hard to hear at your age. Need street smarts. You'd be surprised what I know, but you don't seem like the perceptive type, so that's to be expected. She practically hisses her response, her eyes suddenly narrowed and venomous. She looks down and exhales. The cloud leaves her bright face. Listen, I have better things to do right now than get ticked. Want to chat later, okay? Okay, we'll chat later. I guess I really should go tell our good friends about, you know, what we've done to try to help raise money to fight Alice. Alrighty. Well, let's see. First off, I noticed we have some karma to spend, so back to willpower. Nice. Marvelous. Soon our spells will be unstoppable. Now let's go check the ye old computer. New messages. You have 1. To Aiduken, if you value your new hardware coming into the Kurtz Bazaar, we need to talk. One of my weapon shipments was hijacked by a local gang. I can promise 500 new yen, and if you get to recover the shipment, I'll have some new gear on the shelf. Come see me for details. Well, that's good to know. Jobs directory. Claim payment. Alright. You submit the job as finished and await your client's response. A few moments later, a message pops up onto the screen. Here is your payment, as promised. Beckenhauer. A moment later, a second message pops up in your inbox. Your payment details. 22,500, 6,000 for cruise payments, resupply costs, automatic deduction for Alice fund, remainder sent to accounts. There you go. 11,000 towards Alice's fund. Pending and active jobs. Prototype extraction. Aiduken, here is your complete transcript from my conversation with Herr Schmidt. We've already gone over this. Decline for now. Pharma cleanup job. Here's where you find the complete transcript of my conversation with Herr Frux, a potential client. The job seems to be relatively straightforward, and the payout is reasonable. One word of caution before you proceed. There are aspects in this run that might find morally troubling. Be sure to read and understand the specifics of the job before accepting. If you do accept, you will be expected to carry out the requirement of the job in full. After reading the transcript, you may choose whether or not to accept the job. Herr Frux. Very well, please go straight to the point. I like that very well. Clean up a mess. Go on. My employee dispatch team have operated local sharing pharma AG lab. Unfortunately, they botched the job. The team was eliminated, but we have a reliable information. One of the operatives has been taken captive. Oh, wait, this is the one we've read before. What's this other one then? Another thing, Herr Schmidt's providing me with a device to secure the run. He calls it a little black box. Apparently, it can be used to compromise the power and security systems of the run site. If you take your job, make sure you take it with you. Greetings, Herr Ansel. I trust this connection is secure. Naturally, to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking? Call me Herr Schmidt. Very well, Herr Schmidt. You have some business for me? Indeed. I have a job for your team. A simple matter. Judging by what I've heard from your team, I imagine they will be well suited for the task. Go on. The interests that I represent have learned that AG Chemie Europa is working on a company-wide project, something very secret, very new. Reliable sources inform me that they're keeping a working prototype of this new venture in their Berlin facility. I see. And your employer wants us to acquire the prototype for them? Naturally. What is this project? If you want my team to grab a prototype for you, they need to know what they're looking for. I'm not at liberty to say. I can tell you that its prototype has been branded Mark 6. I can also tell you that your team will find it on the 25th floor of the Berlin facility, on the office of one Albrecht Haushofer. Further, I can assist your team in disabling the building security, gaining access to the 24th floor. From there, however, they will be on their own. Such vagueness can be dangerous, Herr Schmidt. I will not commit my team to a run without better understanding of what the job entails. Facing such dangers is the purpose of a Shadowrunner, Herr Amsel. Your team will be rewarded handsomely in their services. My employment has set aside 20,000 yen for the job. Consider it hazard pay if you wish. Make it 25,000 yen, or look somewhere else. 22,500 yen, final offer. Very well. I'll pass your offer on to my team. Are there any further details you can provide? Hausenhofer's office will be locked behind a vault door. The lock is old-fashioned, one of the mechanical variety. I will provide your team with a copy of the key. I will also supply you with a little black box, a solid-state device your team can use to override a variety of building systems. Your team will enter through the facility's underground garage. When your team acquires the Mark 6, have them exit through the same garage. I will have a van there waiting to extract them. Thank you, Herr Schmidt. I'll pass your offer on to my team. Good day, Herr Amsel. Decline for now. Let's see. Status of the Alice Fund. Current funds, 21 to pretty good. Required 50. Alright. Access to BBS. Relevant keywords. Thread Tyranny's Highlander, the best new deck. Just got one of these from a Tyranny's Neuronet rep. Wants me to sell them in my store, so I took the puppy for a test drive. Signal quality is insane, makes for a huge difference in comfort. Decking fatigue, I can just stay jacked in for hours and feel fine. Last session I had to set a timer so I wouldn't forget to eat. The specs in this don't look impressive, but I'm an allegiance man. Does the comfort really make that much difference? My decks are generally beaters anyway. Allegiance, what are you doing with that thing? Playing video games? Any serious decking is going to require more horsepower than that thing can push, even overclocked. Only a crappy decker blames their gear. I do just fine, thanks. How much are the tyrannies paying you to post this shiza on here? Help, I'm drowning in junk messages. Holy chummers, I could use your help. Every time I jack into the Matrix, I'm flooded with junk mail. There's so much of it, I can't even see. Can anyone help me? Great, another newbie who thinks he's on a tech support board. Hey, stuff it. I wouldn't ask, but I'm desperate. I can't deck like this. Alright, Thunder, calm down. Sounds like you've gotten traced by an ad bot. Been poking around someplace anywhere sketchy lately? I don't need details, a simple yes or no will be fine. No, Bandit, I haven't been anywhere like that. I swear, please help me. What you want to bet he gave his personal info to some scam site? I'll give you 10 to 1 odds. No, I don't think so. All I've done was make an online dating profile. Let me guess, meet and mate? How did you guess? That's not a real dating site, Thunder. It's a place where desperate people go to get infected with malware. But what do I do? What do we do? How do I make it stop? I don't know. Buy a new deck. Best of luck. Oh, man. These guys are, not nice. Alright, we have posting managed safe house list. Posting will activate for 2 days. Marvelous. Let's see what we can get for money that way. Alright. So, let's go talk to our friends, see if they're willing to talk a little bit more now. For the first time she met her, Gloria's expression seemed to brighten. In a subtle It's subtle, but it's there, and you're sure of it. Aiduken, a pleasure in all his ways. Need something from me? How you doing, Glory? Golden as always, Aiduken. No problems here. Any thoughts on the last run? No, Aiduken. Nothing right now. Let's see. Are you ready to tell me about that chrome you're sporting? If I didn't know any better, I think you were warming up to me. She studied your face for a moment before responding. I suppose you might say that. I don't talk to many people, Aiduken. It just doesn't seem to be worth the effort. I don't really feel much anymore. Not since... She caresses the chrome of her forearm hand in the articulated steel. This. If that's true, why are you still talking to me? I suppose because you've shown an interest, and because you haven't let me push you away. She locks eye with you, expression blank. I don't want to mislead you, Aiduken. I still don't feel anything, not warmth or friendship or even trust. But I can appreciate the effort you're making. It's something new, and something worthy of exploring. Alright. Alright. Tell me of the chrome you're sporting. Said there was something went bad when you turned 14. I'd like to keep talking about that. She stares at you, her face expressionless. No, I'd rather not. Why not? Because I don't see a reason to. The memories are unpleasant, and dredging them up doesn't serve any real purpose. You're wrong about that. The last time we talked, it had an impact on you. That's reason enough to continue. She pauses a moment to consider your words, a troubled look on her face. I suppose that's true. Feeling discomfort is better than feeling nothing at all. Alright, here's the deal, Aiduken. I'm going to talk to you. You listen. When I'm done, I'm done. No complaints, no arguments, and we'll see what happens. Deal? Deal. Right. The 1,000-meter stare creeps back into Glory's eyes. A moment later, she locked away in her own head again, reliving memories long since filed away. So, a few days after my 14th birthday, I began to express. Magically. Let's see, judging from what I saw in your aura, your awakening must have been something incredible thing. Eventually I knew. Should have figured you were burnout, the way you went nuts and discounted. Okay. Must have been an incredible thing. It was actually fairly standard. The real power didn't come until later, but we'll get to that. There's another long pause, and Glory becomes more animated. Anyway, I turned 14. I awakened. I don't even remember how my parents found out about it anymore. I think my dad caught me playing with a tiny city spirit that I coaxed out a pile of garbage, something like that. With everything that happened afterward, those days are kind of a blur. What I do remember is my father's response to the revelation that his little girl was a witch, a hex. He beat the living shit out of me with his fists, and then his belt, and then his claw hammer he grabbed out of his toolbox. And when my mother was screaming and flailing at him, she took up a licks from the hammer too. What about your neighbors? Did anyone call the polizia or pro securitas? It's a miracle you survived. I'm just lucky, I guess. So finally, after what felt like an hour, Dad stopped tuning me up with the hammer. I had broken ribs, a busted arm, I couldn't see out of my left eye, my entire right side was covered with one giant bruise, I was bleeding all over the place, making a real mess on the carpet. The old bastard spat at me, his bleeding, crying daughter. He spat at me and told me I was des Trufas Haut, the devil's whore. Then he kicked me out of the house. I was crawling away. My father told me that if he or any other of his Kreuzbitter brothers ever saw me again, they'd treat me as the Berlin chapter treats the enemies of God. If you're not familiar with how the Kreuzbitters here in Berlin deal with the heretics, it's decidedly less pretty than what my dad and his buddies did to their victims. I got the hint, and the next morning I hitched a ride out of Stuttgart. You're a human girl, presumably with an ID. Why didn't you go to the hospital? Gutsy move. You were a smart kid. Not that smart. Slowly, sadly, she shakes her head. But we'll get to that in a minute. And I wound up in Tübingen. I figured it was safe enough to find medical attention, maybe call home. It's not that far from Stuttgart, but it's a huge student community, and I figured I could blend into, and the university there is a decent magic department. My ride dropped me off at the university hospital, and they patched me up pretty good. Had some questions for me about how I got so beaten, and I lied and told them that I'd been mugged, which played nicely into my complete lack of cash, credit, and identification. Glory paused for a moment and looks down at the floor, fixes eyes on you. She's visibly tense. We're gonna fast forward the next few years. I was a kid on the street. I got by the best I could, doing whatever I had to do. The rest we can leave up to your imagination, good? You did what you had to do, no stranger to that myself. I don't think anyone working on the shadows is. Of course, I only need to hear what you're comfortable talking about, nothing more. Good. Glory's clenched jaw relaxes somewhat, and the tension drains from her shoulders. Thanks. So, anyway, I've lived on the street for a few years, got used to being hungry all the time, got used to being rained on, got by. I was painfully aware that I had magical talents, but without any kind of training or guidance, I didn't really know how to use or develop them. Truth be told, they scared me, so I more or less ignored them. So I just sort of went like that, till a few days after my 17th birthday, when I met Martha, and everything changed. Martha was a sweet girl. At first I took her for a street kid like me. Her clothes were a little ratty, and she seemed comfortable being near me, but she also looked well-fed and happy, and those were two things that I didn't get in years. We started hanging out, and before I knew it, it was happening. I was in love. There was a genuine attraction between Martha and me, I think, but I also think a lot of my affection came from the fact that she was the first person in years to give a damn about me. She cared, and I loved her for that. Glory pauses. She looks flustered, her composure cracked. Keep going, Glory. She stares you for a beat, then nods. A few ragged breaths later, she continues. Martha told me about a place where she's been hanging out. She invited me there. It was called Fyrstel, the fireplace, and it was the sort of commune for dispossessed youth. Turns out that a lot of the street kids I'd known over the years had moved there. The way they disappeared, I assumed they'd been kidnapped or killed. Had gone back to their parents. But there they were. I remember being a kid, kind of angry about that. Like, how did everybody get into the memo about this but me? Martha calmed me down. She was good at helping me through my feelings, and I wound up following her to the Fyrstel. To a street kid, it was basically paradise. The owner, a guy named Harrow, set up a little farm just outside Tübingen in the Schönbach forest. The Schönbach is officially a nature park, but not many people go there nowadays. Too much fear of the paranormal animals, I guess. Anyway, park or not, it was plenty big enough for us to hide in. It was safe and pretty, and the farm was well stocked with food. Most importantly, Fyrstel gave us a sense of community and stability that we'd never had in the street. We loved Harrow for that, and became like a surrogate father to us. Glory pauses again, then recognized the distinctive flush in her cheeks. She seems to have come out of her reverie once again. That's enough for now. I need to process all of this, and I don't want to continue forward until I've had the chance to do that. I know that this all happened years ago, but I guess it's still pretty raw to me. I'm going to ask you to give me some space for a while. She turns away, and the frost begins to creep back in her voice. We can pick this back up later. Alright, Glory. No problem. We can definitely do, later. Alright, Iger. How you doing? As you approach, Iger turns to face you. Her rifle has been field stripped and is laying pieces on the sheet of butcher paper. Arranged in her neat row along the edge of the paper are bottles of copper solvent, bore cleaner, and lighter fluid. Our fearless leader returns. What do you need? Any thoughts on the last run? Nothing we haven't already talked about. Okay. I'd like to hear about your time in the KSK. Shakes her head. No, I'm not in the habit of sharing war stories, Aiduken. Not with people who've never served. Let's see. It doesn't have to be a war story. I just want a better idea of who I'm running with. She looks at you for an eye moment, evaluating. Finally, she shrugs. All right, Aiduken. You win. I owe everything to my time in the KSK, from my street name on down. So, you tell me what you want to know, and we'll see where this goes. How'd you get your street name? Back when I was in basic training, a few recruits made a vulgar joke at my expense. He said I reminded him of the north face of the Eiger on the Baronese Alps. Huge, beautiful, but dangerous to climb. His tone left little doubt of what sort of climbing he had in mind. I think he was trying to proposition me in his clumsy way, poking me in front of the others recruits to try to provoke a reaction. She shrugs. Anyway, he got one. I broke 3 of his ribs, and the name stuck. Serves him right. Iger regards with her eye. You might actually mean that, but then you may just be trying to get it on my good side. Anyone who's used that line, a line that bad, deserves to get smacked around a little. Don't flatter yourself. I couldn't care less whether you like me or not. Well, I have to admit, your reaction does sound a bit extreme. Anyone who's a line that bad deserves to get smacked around a little. She nods. For once, we're in complete agreement, but there was more to it than that. As soon as the idiot made his little joke, I was foregone conclusion that I was going to get settled with the name Iger. My only choice in the matter was whether it happened under his terms or under mine. So if I hadn't broken the twit's ribs, the name Iger would have meant a difficult sexual conquest to a whole barrack full of recruits. That's what it would have been to them. From that point on, my own accomplishment be damned. Thanks to what I did, my new meant the troll who doesn't take shit from anyone, instead of the name of I'm proud to go by. I've hung on to it ever since. Iger pauses for a moment, then looks you in the eyes. A word of advice to you, Aiduken. If anyone ever puts you in a position that he put me in, if he demeans you in front of your unit, whatever his intent, the appropriate response is to put the person down. Hard. Out in the field, nothing will kill you faster than losing respect of your team. By that logic, you should have broken your ribs after Monica died. Good advice anywhere, on the field or here in the shadows. She nods. By the way, Aiduken, I am aware that it's more than a little ironic for me to be telling you this. After Monica's death, if you were the one who was dressing me down in front of Amsel and the rest, well, anyway, I don't want to dwell on it. I just want to say I'm sorry for putting you down in that position. Anyway, is there anything else? Let's just drop it for the time being. Thanks, Iger. Because we are at time, so here's where I will say thank you all for joining me. I really hope you're enjoying these videos as much as I'm enjoying making them for all of you. And you know I do, because I just keep putting out videos. If you like this one, please remember to hit the thumbs up, and any other of that wonderful YouTube stuff. Comments are great. Love hearing those. Otherwise, please check out the links down below. Got a few to check out, but the one I'd really like to see you on is my Discord server. Let everyone have a chance to get a personal hello from me. So anyway, thank you all for joining me, and I shall see you all next time.